Welcome, everybody, to the Exes podcast. I'm Scott.
I'm Therese.
And we are here. This is an odd time. It's a Monday night. We know this. This is a pop-up show that we're doing because we want to keep track of some of our favorite killers and murderers and such. So,
well, I wouldn't say favorite, but our interested cases.
Yes, not our favorite people. They're not coming over for Sunday brunch or anything.
No.
No, but we're in midst of the Daybell case, and also the other case that is going on now, which we'll talk more about that later on in the week or something. But the Daybell case, the Vallow-Daybell case, we'll call it.
We can call it the Daybell case. She doesn't deserve his name.
She does. Well, she's killed for it. I think she's earned it. But Lori Vallow is on trial. They spent 5 or 6 days vetting and doing the jury thing. They got that all set last week, and opening arguments started this morning. And we wanted to kind of give everybody a little update on what's going on. Our normal show would be Wednesday night, but unfortunately, I'm going to be traveling. And also good news for everybody out there. On Thursday afternoon, fiber optic is being installed so that I will no longer freeze. So that's good news.
Good.
Yeah, that is good news. First of all, happy Easter to you and everybody.
Happy
I hope everybody
Easter.
had a good one.
Yeah.
Did you spend time with the kitties?
Well, I saw them Saturday for the most of the time because they were going to Syracuse. And then, but Emily came for brunch with Tara and I, and then I did get to see them because I dropped Emily off over there to drive to Syracuse with them. So I got to see everybody.
Excellent. Mm-hmm. Excellent. And any special meal for Easter for you, or?
No, we did brunch.
Oh, you did brunch. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I cooked a 8-pound turkey breast.
Nice.
And, that thing was so huge, I'd hate to see what the rest of the turkey looked like. I mean, it would have been a monster. And made some mashed cauliflower, trying to be healthy, trying to do the good things. But yeah, had a nice time. But we definitely, this is all. Oh, okay. Terry's with us already. Sandy Mom is with us already. So that's good.
Hello.
And again, just a pop-up show. We're just going to talk for a little bit, but we want to let everybody know what's going on. And I think the first thing is this isn't being televised. Like you would think a trial like this would be televised because of the interest in it. I mean, they televise OJ, they televise all these other trials. Why didn't they not want to do this one, Therese?
Judge's decision. I think the defense was complaining a lot about the media coverage and that it was tainting the jury pool and that the pretrial was so heavily covered on just focused on Lori and it wasn't fair and blah, blah, blah. So he, he banned cameras, camera. He banned audio until after the trial is over for the day and then it will get released, but you have to pay for it. So a couple of the, YouTubers and stuff, they're paying for it and they're releasing it. And
well, I believe Court TV is getting this stuff as well, so that they can report on it at night.
Oh, I'm sure they are. Yeah.
And
like Nate Eaton from East Idaho News, they're paying for it and getting it and releasing it. And they a few of the news agencies got together and hired a sketch artist. So that is the only pictures we're getting is the sketch artist pictures.
Yeah, I got to say I'm a little disappointed. Yeah, that's exactly what Terry was just asking. Any cartoon artist allowed? Yeah, they like to be called sketch artists. Cartoon artist is not. Yeah, they all look like Bullwinkle. I don't get it. Yeah, that's cool. I'm just I'm disappointed because I think this would have been something that. How much more can you taint the people? I mean, we've already heard everything.
Well, yeah, and that's the problem. But they did move it to a different county. They moved it up to Boise, which is a bigger county, I guess.
Well, they got a bigger jury pool to draw from.
Yes, and they heavily asked the jurors, have you seen the Netflix special? Have you seen the Dateline? Have you watched it on the news? And a lot of those people have not. They may have heard, when it first started, kids were missing, mom is in question, and then they kind of like dropped off and didn't follow it. So,
Wow.
so they were able to get their jurors.
I would be hard pressed to know anybody who hasn't at least heard something about this case. But
I guess there's a lot of people that don't. I don't watch the news, but I do watch true crime. So
Terry says cartoon artist is fine because the defendants are all Looney Tunes. That is a true story. She is a bit of a.
That is.
So let's talk about what happened today. They came out now. Obviously, the prosecutor goes first, which would be the district attorney or assistant district attorney. I'm looking for the name of
Lindsay Blake.
Lindsay Blake is the lead on that, and Archibald is the lead on the defense. So we got Blake against Archibald, and the first thing out of Blake's mouth is what was the term they put down? Money, power, and sex. This whole thing is about money, power, and sex.
Mm-hmm.
Three very, those are like the big murder, what do you call them, motives out there. She just packaged them all together. Do you think that's an accurate statement, the money, power, and sex?
I do.
Now, some people might think she was misled because of the religious thing, and some people go too far into that, and it's not about money, power, and sex. It's more about just religious beliefs and being crazy. But they did point out some things that kind of disproved that a little bit, including a few things that I didn't know, one of which was that a month before Kaylee, the daughter,
Tylee.
I'm sorry, Tylee. My mistake. Before Tylee disappeared, Lori had already transferred all of Tylee's funds and money, which Tylee had some.
Because her father had died.
Right. So she was getting benefits from the father.
Mm-hmm.
I assume Social Security, maybe some other benefits that he had through work.
I also think she got a little bit of some life insurance, like a lump sum.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But Lori had already transferred that into her own account a month before the girl disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
And a month before JJ disappeared, she had done the same thing, taken all of his money and transferred and continued to collect that money during the whole time that these children were missing, which they were dead, but they were missing to the general public.
Right.
So, there's money right there. Plus the fact the death of her husband, which they're not even trying that case yet.
No.
Was all about the insurance money. It seemed like an obvious motive. And when
$1 million,
and she was not aware that it was not in her name anymore until after the crime was committed.
Correct.
And then neither she nor did she allow her children to attend his funeral. Correct. Because she was so mad. Correct. So this is all building money. This is, I guess the same thing could be said for Tammy Daybell, which was Chad's wife who was murdered. Maybe let me see. Let's bring this up real quick, just so we can explain just real quick for those people who are listening, just a reminder of what we're looking at here. The two lovely people top and center there on our wacky wheel of pain and horror are Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell, who had an affair, then got married. After she killed her estranged husband.
Well, her brother killed
her. Her brother killed him in self-defense, but they're drawing a line that she set that up.
Correct.
And Chad's wife died.
Correct.
From mysterious circumstances. And then, of course, the two children were murdered. And her brother, who was a part of all of these things, with the exception of maybe Chad's wife, but we don't know. He was a part of all of these things and had a role to play in the death of the children and the death of Charles Vallow. He dies of mysterious circumstances, too. It was like, what did they think, a heart attack or something like that?
No, pulmonary embolisms.
Which is, I thought that was a heart attack.
Blood clots in both lungs.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's why you're a nurse. I'm not a nurse. I can get these things wrong.
Yeah, there's going to be some things coming out about how close he was to Chad's house the night that Tammy died. But anyway, let them bring that up in court.
And I'm not sure. Do you remember what the original, what they originally called her death?
Originally, they said natural causes.
Natural causes, and now they revealed today in court asphyxiation, which means she was either choked or smothered. You know, and I believe she was found in the bathroom, in the shower, or something. Or in the
no, she was in her bed.
It was in her
bedroom. In her bedroom, there is some. There's some differing stories. Chad said that he woke up and she was already passed away in their bed, nice and peaceful. But his son, who was, I believe, either living or staying at the home at the time, said that she was on the floor when he went into the bedroom.
Right.
So they had different stories, but.
Okay, so what we're talking about, what started today, is the trial against Lori for the death of the two children, JJ and Tylee, and Tammy Daybell for her involvement. She's being charged with murder for all three of those.
No, she's not charged with murder for Tammy. She's charged with conspiracy. Yes.
All right, conspiracy to commit murder for Tammy, and then charged for murder. There are charges that will be filed against her for Charles's death in another state when all this is over. And who knows if the brother's name will come up again? We don't know. But
I'm sure it will.
I mean, they've already started. They've already started laying out their defense for all of this. And let's remind everybody that Chad Daybell is also being charged with the murder of the two children and the murder of his wife, I believe. And he will. I guess they can't start that trial until this one's over.
I mean, they agreed to push his trial out because they once they severed it, that was his lawyer's thing, and they didn't have time to prepare. So that's going to be moved. They probably, I mean, yeah, they can't start until hers is over, but they're trying for next year. But I think their prosecutors are going to try at least by the end of this year.
All right. So jury selected. We're working on the Lori Vallow case now. This is her with her lawyers. Both of them look like they've done time. I don't know for sure. It's just look at it. That expression on her face, according to all reports, was pretty much the same throughout the whole day today. There was, I believe you've heard the same reports. She had very little reactions, and she acted very casual about the whole thing, didn't she?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no camera, so we don't know. No. But I heard that she was looking around a little more today than she had been.
Okay. All right.
To see like who was there. And
okay. All right. So she was at least doing that, but interviews they interviewed people coming out during lunch and then after the day, people who just, I don't know how people got seats to this thing. They interviewed a mother-daughter who were just like crime aficionados who traveled from like 2 states away, and they got seats, and they were like, we just wanted to see what was going to happen. And I was like, oh my God. But here we are talking about it too. So I guess I can't say much, right?
Yeah, well, it is open to the public, but you have to go on your computer. You have to have the link and you have to request a seat.
Oh, okay. All right.
By at 8 a.m. every day for the in courtroom, and then noon every day for the overflow. Yeah.
So I assume the overflow has like a camera in there or a TV in there, and they watch.
Yeah, they have a screen. Yeah.
And everyone made the same comments about her lack of empathy in reaction, and that she seemed completely out of character for somebody who's facing these kind of charges. So yeah. I don't know if that's her own hubris or her own pride, or that she thinks she's smarter than everybody else, or if she actually believes any of her own BS. That's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
So they lay it out: money, power, sex. They spent time describing the children as being vibrant and bright and stuff. Um, they talked about the switching of the money, and uh, she was the prosecutor described her as a 49-year-old mother of five, a grandmother, a computer whiz by all accounts. She wanted Chad Daybell all to herself, as well as the insurance money following Tammy's death. So, there's something else with the money too, because two people took the stand today. The opening arguments went faster than I thought they would. Didn't you expect those to be like all day kind of things?
Yeah.
And I think they
straight to the point.
Yeah, they finished them up by like 10:30 this morning their time, or 11 o'clock their time, and they already went through two witnesses for the prosecution. One being JJ's uncle. You know what? The relationships in this family. Who's actually the uncle and who's this? It was Tammy, or sorry, Lori Vallow's niece's husband. So, however Brandon. That works for the kids.
Brandon Boudreaux.
He went on there, and they were describing there was an incident that happened. Was it before or during all of this, where he was shot at?
During.
So it was while the kids were missing.
It was in October. Mm-hmm.
Now, what would have been the point of killing him? Why did he even have a role in this?
Well, because Melanie, her niece, it was part of the group, very close with her aunt. She had divorced she was going through a divorce with Brandon at the time. Brandon is like an insurance agent. So he also had a very hefty life insurance policy.
So the niece might have been pulled in as a part of this, but there hasn't been a connection made between her and, as far as legal charges against the niece.
There are no legal charges. There is some chatter that she may have immunity.
Okay. All right. There's more people involved in this than I even thought. So they argued they didn't want that to present this shooting case to the jury, but the judge overruled and said it certainly does show a pattern of behavior, and they certainly wanted to have that out there to show that they were after gathering money and stuff. All the talk about, people with dark spirits and light spirits and zombies and all this stuff. At the end of the day, they were still trying to get money from people. So
yeah, and I think all that zombie talk was justification for.
Well, yeah,
why these people had to go.
Well, they were trying to get people to follow them. This is the cult-like behavior that they were exhibiting. And Chad Daybell, long before all this started with Lori Vallow, was already on that path of being like the next cult leader, because he believed he survived death, or he died and came back and God talked to him and all these other things.
Yes, all in his own mind, yes.
Yes, yeah, he was definitely a legend in his own mind for sure. And again, we found out that Tammy Daybell was smothered and/or choked to death. She died of asphyxiation. So there's no ambiguity there at all. Everybody knows she was murdered. It was not like natural causes at all. So, so this is where we're at. Ticketmaster, no, I'm sorry. Ticketmaster is not involved in the trial. You cannot get your seats through Ticketmaster, but that's a good point, Terry. Thank you.
Ticketmaster. No.
Now, the prosecutor really, they kind of laid right into it, and they basically painted her as a money-hungry, power-hungry, I want my man and nothing gets in the way.
Heartless.
Heartless. They painted her all of these kind of things. They kind of snubbed her whole self-proclaimed religious stuff as being just kind of a tool, for her to achieve the ends, just as we were talking about. The defense attorney The defense attorney made some interesting statements, one of which he thanked the jury. I heard this statement. This is the weirdest thing I've ever heard. He thanked the jury for being there and knows this is going to be a mess of a case because there was no way to come to a deal. He actually said he was trying to make a deal and there was no deal to be made. And so he apologized for everybody having to be there. What kind of attorney goes in there with that kind of attitude? Doesn't that basically say she's guilty?
I would think so.
I mean, the court TV people, they almost plotched. They almost fell out of their seats. They were like, this guy actually said we were unable to come to a deal.
He also said that to Nate Eaton outside. They caught him leaving, and they asked about a plea deal. Was there talks of a plea deal? And he said that they had had talks of a plea deal, and they were unable to come to an agreement on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, was he court appointed? I heard that he was court appointed. Okay.
Yes.
All right. He's court appointed. So either this guy is maybe he's brilliant, but it didn't seem like a brilliant move to me. It really, yeah. Terry, thank you. My cousin Vinny could have done better.
I mean, maybe it's some kind of strategy. He's pretty experienced.
Yeah.
From what I've heard.
He does, yeah, I mean, he's got a resume. He knows what he's doing. It just was, I think it threw everybody for a loop a little bit about what the hell are they talking about, unless they're trying to set the stage because they've already started to move in that direction. And the defense in the opening statement said she has an alibi for the time when the children disappeared with the brother. So I think what he's trying to do is set the stage for this kind of, we're trying to make a deal because we know who killed them. It's not Lori, it's somebody else. It's the brother. And
but even if it is the brother, conspiracy carries the same sentence.
Okay, that's what I wanted to ask you about. Is she's being charged with murder, but do you have to actually murder somebody to be charged with murder?
I think in order to be charged with murder, yes, but she's also charged with conspiracy to commit the murders. So I think that they're unsure. They were unsure if she was physically involved.
Right.
But I believe that she set it up so it was possible.
This is kind of the Charlie Manson deal. Charlie Manson's still in prison.
Although
he didn't kill anybody. He didn't kill anybody, but he orchestrated deaths. And so he's being punished like that, right?
I think that she was a little more hands-on. I mean, because the children had to be available to someone else, and that she's their mother, so who made them available?
Yeah.
There's some question of whether or not JJ was drugged at any certain time. So I think that she had a little more. I think she had a little bit more of a physical help.
Now this is where it gets interesting because I mean, now just the physicality of it, first of all, right after the defense attorney Archibald said, couldn't make a deal. He wanted to come forward and say something brilliant, like she was a loving mother to her children who had a particular interest in religion and the end of times. so she was batshit crazy. That's kind of where he's going with that. But then he went right into she was in her apartment in Idaho when her children died in her brother Alex Cox's apartment in the same city. And Alex is now deceased, so we'll know.
Yeah, a couple townhouses away in the same neighborhood.
I think it was in the same development. Yes. There was also one of the nieces. The niece lived there in that same development too,
right next door.
Yeah,
and never questioned why she didn't see the kids.
They're preparing for the end of times by just occupying a big apartment complex,
a bunch of townhouses. Yeah,
a bunch of townhouses. And then the same alibi states that Lori was in Hawaii when Tammy died. Tammy Daybell, who was
And
Chad
that may be
Daybell's
true.
wife. That may be true.
That may be true. She did flee to Hawaii, but who was she with? Who is her alibi?
That I don't. It didn't say. It didn't go into detail on that.
It said, I believe they're saying that she was in the presence of Melanie Gibb and Melanie Boudreau and or Chad Daybell. So guess who's going to be on the witness stand? Melanie Gibb for sure.
Right.
We think Melanie Boudreau, Pulowski now. So how's that going to work for an alibi if they are both going to testify?
Could they put Chad on the stand?
Oops. Sorry. Hold on.
What just happened? Runaway microphone. Could they bring Chad Daybell in?
No.
They can't bring him in as a
No,
witness?
because he's still under the Fifth Amendment. Well, he's still under the Fifth Amendment because his trial hasn't happened yet. Now, when Lori's trial is over, whether she's acquitted or convicted, she can be called to testify at his trial because hers is already over.
Right.
But no, he's protected under the Fifth Amendment.
Now, it may seem strange that, she's in Hawaii, Tammy Daybell is suffocated or asphyxiated. So how could she possibly play a role in that? That's when just today, the grandmother, what's her name?
Kay Woodcock.
Kay, yes.
Yes.
The husband will go on. I think he's on tomorrow, but she was on today.
I don't think he's going to testify.
Oh, you don't think so?
No, because he was in the courtroom today.
Oh, okay. Well, Kay took the stand, and she testified that Lori was still accessing Charles's money.
Yes.
At the time when Tammy died, and had already started purchasing wedding things, like rings and other things, on her dead husband's account.
You made it rhyme.
Yes. On her dead husband's account.
His Amazon account.
Before Tammy died.
Yes.
Yeah, Amazon keeps records, people. We still share an account. I know we know everything.
Yeah, we still share it.
Why the hell did you buy that? No, but it's so that kind of like throws away anything about, well, I'm not involved, because how are you buying wedding things for somebody who's still married?
Right.
I
think it was something like 2 weeks. She purchased them 2 weeks or so before.
Yeah.
He passed away. Yeah.
So overall, what is your feeling on this and how we're doing this? What's going on with all of this?
What do you mean?
Well, I'm just wondering.
Elaborate, please.
No, I mean, you've caught up about as much as I have, and trust me, at the end of the week, we're going to have much more to talk about. We're gonna be deep diving each day that we can. Like I said, I'm going to be traveling a bit, but I'm going to be diving in as much as I can. But is this about what you expected them to come out just this quick and just start firing right from the start?
Yeah, it was kind of predicted that that's the way they were going to do it. Now, they showed autopsy photos right during their opening statement. And I think that's like, I was watching some, because, I have an early day on Monday. So I was able to watch some of that other trial that we're interested in. And they did show some autopsy photos. And that one does have cameras in the courtroom. And that was very sad.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of a little bit glad that I didn't have to see these autopsy photos, because I would be watching it if it was televised or cameras in the courtroom. And I mean, even though it's not something I really want to see, it's something I wouldn't be able to tell myself, don't look. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm kind of glad that I didn't have that choice.
Well, I've seen you in a scary movie, and I've seen you bury your head in a pillow and not look up at all. But when it comes to this stuff, you're fully engaged in it. You're engrossed in it, and I agree with you. When I did see that they did show images of the body in the opening statements, the bodies of the children and stuff. That was something I'm glad I didn't see.
Yeah.
I can imagine. I'm just my concern is this: is my concern is that what we're working with here with Tammy, or sorry, Lori Vallow. My concern is that she's smart enough, and that she's always been smart enough to put like 2 or 3 people between her and the action, and that her husband was killed. It was her brother. She wasn't there. She showed up afterwards, almost like, yes, you can see. She showed up when the police were saying, "You can see I wasn't even here." Now our neighbors are going to think we're just crazy people. It's like laughing in the driveway.
No, but she was there. She was there.
But the same thing with the death of the children. Do we know? Did she keep enough separation because of her brother Alex, where she wasn't involved? Chad went and buried the bodies. They knew that, or at least they're pretty sure.
I'm sorry. I'm playing with quartz.
You're playing with what? Can't hear you. You got unplugged or something. You back? No, you got you. Got you.
I was playing with quartz. I'm sorry. I won't play with the cord anymore.
She's getting bored. She's starting to play with stuff.
Fidgety fingers.
So my concern is that she put enough people. Now Chad seems to have gotten his hands a lot dirty. He woke up next to his dead wife. He buried the bodies. The brother apparently was the one who moved the bodies around and did all of that and possibly killed the kids. But there's no direct link to her physically doing any of these actions. Is that going to be like, what's that going to do?
Well, as far as the conspiracy goes, I think that they have enough proof to prove that between digital text messages, emails, blah, blah, blah. And they have evidence that, she was getting Chad to where she lived under false pretenses. They have evidence that she asked her friend to out and out lie for her.
Yeah.
She was seen on video bringing her children's things in and out of a storage unit. Now, what mother, even if she didn't have anything to do with them actually getting killed, what mother is going to get rid of all of their things, put them in a storage unit, take off to Hawaii, not call the police?
Well, I think that's where she really messed up. I mean, up until the point when it was after the fact, stop touching your stuff.
I'm turning it down a little. You're a little loud.
I'm sorry. I'm getting excited. Most of what she did prior to it seemed like she was keeping a bit of a distance between her and the incidents. But then afterwards,
but not
murders, but
yes, but not maybe not physically, but definitely,
she was pulling the strings. She was pulling all the strings.
Yeah.
In fact, I guarantee that she was pulling more strings than Chad was. I can guarantee this because this goes back to the death of a husband we're not even talking about.
Yeah.
There was a husband before that died under mysterious circumstances. This is a Black Widow, people. This is the Black Widow. She's killing everybody. Chad should thank his lucky stars that he's going to be sharing a cell with Bubba for the rest of his life instead of sleeping next to this woman who could decide to kill him at any time. I'm just saying.
Well, I don't know. Her little dirty deed guy is gone.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know. And but her biggest mistake, and I think this is probably where the case is pretty much open and close. I mean, this is a slam dunk for the cases. How does somebody sit there and lie about where your kids are? If you're a mother and your kids are missing and you don't know where they are, you don't lie. You don't go on trips. You don't run off and get married.
She took off. They contacted her once, and then they came back the next day because they realized there was some stories that were different, and they were gone. They were gone by the next day. They took off in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
All of them. Alex, her, and Chad.
So, I mean, there's, it was the after the fact that this is all just, I hope that these ADAs on the case, Blake and the other prosecutors, have their stuff together. We've seen prosecutors drop the ball on cases, OJ, and we've seen people, Casey. Yes, we've seen people drop the ball. If nothing else, conspiracy across the board for all of these things, and lock her away.
Yeah.
Terry made an interesting point. She said, if someone's involved in a robbery that goes bad and someone dies, even though they might not have pulled the trigger, they can still be charged with the murder because they're participatory in an act where somebody died.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe they can still make a murder case, even though the conspiracies. I don't think it matters either way. I think as long as they nailed her.
Yeah.
But
I think one of the big things is she was asked, and it was recorded, do you know where JJ is? And she said, yes, I know exactly where he is. He is happy and something.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh, yeah. So she admitted right on a recording that she knew exactly where he was. And where was he? He was buried in Chad's backyard. So I think that is a big, big, big thing.
Yeah. And I want to point to one final thing that I saw in the kind of oddball opening statement by the defense was that he made it a point to say, this is not the trial of Chad Daybell or Alex, what was his name?
Cox.
Alex Cox. I know I'm getting all the names wrong tonight. I apologize for that, people. This is not the trial of Chad or Alex. This is the trial of Lori. So basically, by saying that, he's setting the stage for blaming everything on those two.
No, yeah.
And now it was my understanding that Lori didn't want the trial separated, but Chad did.
Correct.
Doesn't this serve her better to do it separately so she could blame him? Why would it benefit her to do it with him?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
The prosecutors wanted it, and the judge wanted it together because the same, basically similar evidence is going to be presented. Now it has to be presented twice.
Yeah.
It's going to be more expensive to have two trials. They had to move this out of the counties that they were charged in to get the bigger jury pool. So, I mean, all of that is added expense. So it just makes sense. It made sense to try them together, especially since they were co-conspirators. But Chad's lawyer got his wish that he's been trying for ever since the beginning.
But now they can cross over, they point the fingers at each other.
They were probably going to do that anyway.
Yeah, but if they're in the same courtroom and they're doing that, then you've got the people right there, and you can question them, and if they took the stand. But this way, she could be pointing fingers all day at Chad and Alex, and neither one of them can take the stand, and neither one of them can be questioned. And this is, I'm surprised. If I was Chad, I would definitely want to go first. I think the first one is the one who's going to probably.
Well, they're saying that actually going second has its advantages because his lawyer's been visiting. He watched some of the jury selection. I didn't hear if he was there today or not. But he's getting a heads up on all the evidence that they actually do have, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
He's getting a feel for what their argument is going to be.
He's going to see how the jury reacts to it. He's going to know everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even if I don't think he's allowed to attend the court. He might have been able to be there for the jury, but I don't think he's allowed to.
I don't know if there's any stipulation against him
But then again, the prosecutors get to see both sides because they're in both
Yeah,
cases. So I guess it's fair, if they get to see both sides, why can't he?
yeah.
But you're right. That is a huge advantage because he's going to
Mhm.
go in saying, all right, well, this happened and everybody went in all in on that. So we got to be careful about that. We got to do this.
Well, plus, if she gets convicted, right, and gets sentenced to 10, 20, 30, 40 years, then Chad has that opportunity to either decide if he wants to roll the dice and go with a jury or if he wants to take a plea deal for 25, right?
Right.
He would have
That's
that choice.
that's a good point. That's a very good point. Um, no possibility that they're going to do some insanity thing. If they had to do it, they would have had to have done it by now. Is that correct?
Oh, they already said they're not bringing that into the trial.
Who said that?
They're not bringing any mental health issues. Lori's lawyers. She doesn't want it. She doesn't want a mental health issue. I think that they were going to bring up some of her mental issues if at the sentencing, if it was still the death penalty case. But now that's off the table. So
All right. So the woman who said the lawyers who were saying she's not fit to stand trial are now saying, well, nah, we're not going to do that.
well, because she won't let them. They have to do what their client says, right?
Wow. Wow. Let's take a look at this band of merry winners here. Um, I understand that everyone deserves a defense. I mean, I get that. Um, I will never understand how a defense attorney can deal with somebody like her and be okay with it. I'm not saying they shouldn't. I'm glad they do. I mean, they do need to be protected, of course. I mean, as crazy as she is and as bad as she is, she deserves protections against,
well, she deserves a fair trial.
a fair trial,
Yeah.
and an effort should be made to represent her appropriately and stuff. But God, I just got to wonder how that feels to a defense attorney to be representing somebody who's that evil. I mean, you gotta have something inside of you,
Yeah.
that really does that. But wow, so we've got a lot coming this week. I think this is
A
going to
lot
be.
coming.
Has there been any estimation on how long this trial is going to last? Last I heard it like 8 weeks.
They were saying like 6. People were predicting more like 8, but then so it's been just a week, right?
Yeah.
They asked one of her attorneys as they accosted him on the street today about how long he thought it was going to last, and he said probably another month.
Wow.
So that's 5 weeks. So they're pretty close.
And
I would guess probably 7.
I have a feeling that, I mean, just there is really when it comes down to it, in a lot of the cases you and I have talked about, there is a huge amount of evidence and witness testimony to go over here. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes it's like very little evidence and just a lot of speculation, and we got to dig deep into the science to every grain of sand. And this one's
Mhm.
a lot more kind of out there, and it's more with the people and the lies that were told and the actions and the things that were caught on tape and other things. So I don't think this is going to be one of those trials we're going to have experts on the stand for 5 or 6 days in a row to talk about one sock with a stain on it. This is good. There's a whole lot more to this.
Yeah. There is some DNA evidence. I think one of the detectives is on the stand tomorrow. First, Detective Hermosillo.
Okay, all right. And was he one of the detectives who found or
The children? Yes.
he found the children? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
One last question I wanted to ask you before we sign off on this. He made a statement about her not being or her having an alibi at the time when the kids were in Alex's apartment. Has it been shown that that's where they were killed? Has that been proven yet?
No. In fact, they said there was nothing in Alex's apartment.
So that was an interesting thing that he said there to kind of make people believe that
Mm-hmm.
Alex murdered them, because he actually said, let me pull that out again, because that
is what her alibi is. Yes.
That was a very, very strong statement that Lori was in her apartment in Rexburg, Idaho, when her children died in her brother Alex's apartment. Now, I haven't heard that they've proven that
No,
that's where they died. So why would the defense attorney say that?
because that's what her alibi is. That's what she's saying her alibi is.
So
Well, they have to present her alibi.
So she's stating that she knows that they were killed in that.
Yeah. So is that any better than,
Yeah,
how can you say that?
I know. And then, so basically you're admitting that you knew your brother killed these kids, and then,
And you didn't do it.
And then he went around and lied about it and covered up the crime and did all that.
Yeah. And had him try to shoot at Brandon and have him try to shoot at Tammy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy. But no, they said there was nothing in his apartment. They said he didn't even have furniture in his apartment. Now, JJ, it's possible because I kind of lean towards the fact that JJ was drugged and then probably strangled. Probably nothing messy. Probably nothing bloody.
Wow.
So that could have been an Alex. Yeah. That could have been. But I don't think Tylee was killed there.
Now, they have not released how the children died yet. Or at least I have not read that yet.
No.
It may have been in the testimony that we haven't gone through all of the pieces yet. They haven't been released.
I don't think they've released it yet. And they have said that there is one victim that they may not know the cause of death. And I believe that's probably Tylee because she was dismembered and burned and they may not be able to put that puzzle together.
Wow. So every effort was made to cover this thing up. I got to tell you right now that somebody's got to be out there digging into Alex's death saying there's no way this was a coincidence that he just happened to have this pulmonary embolism or whatever it was.
I think his wife has immunity and she's supposed to testify also. So I'm hoping that she has some. I'm hoping that these people can be honest when they're on the stand because honesty is not one of their values.
And we've seen people, you and I have talked about this, and we've seen the interviews and stuff with friends and close family members who knew something was wrong, but still participated in the cover-up in a sense, by not speaking out, by not saying things, or by just kind of laying back. I would love to see all these people, at least something's got to happen. You knew something and you didn't say something.
Yeah, I think there's quite a few of those.
There was so many, including that one best friend girl that somehow comes out of this looking like she's, I helped. It was like, but for months,
Yeah, no, she's,
Yeah. So this is an interesting case. I hope you all find it interesting too. A lot of you aren't watching tonight, so some of you are going to pick this up tomorrow and stuff. Therese and I will be back sometime this weekend to talk about. We'll talk off the air and figure out a time, but we'll come back sometime this weekend and talk about the case, and then we will be back on our regular Wednesday night schedule. Maybe next week.
Next week, yeah.
There's going to be a lot. We will do it next week, and we will also cover the other case with the Stouch. All right.
Although her lawyer says it wrong every other time he says it, so.
Yeah, I know. They don't even know.
It kind of makes me chuckle.
How can you convict a woman? You can't even say her name. That's anyway. So we will be back with more of that on the Exes, and keep you guys apprised. And if there's anything you'd like us to cover, anything you'd like us to talk about, or something you'd like to share with us, just reach out to me or Therese on Facebook.
Let us know.
Let us know. Let us know what you think. And in the meantime, we will be gathering information and following this like a couple of bloodhounds.
Yes.
Final thoughts, Therese?
No, have a good week. It's going to be a tough week listening to all this.
It's going to be a tough week. And, this is just a reminder that, watch your friends, watch your families. If you suspect a child is being hurt, if you suspect a child is in danger, it's never okay not to say something. I don't care if you think you're going to lose a lifelong friend. It's always better to err on the side of caution.
You're on the air.
What?
You're on the air, Mr. Beep Beep.
Oh, I know. I, I try to ignore that I did that. My phone was on. All right. But yes, if you know something, you know somebody's suffering from something, say something. And of course, always be good to your neighbors, be good to each other, and take care of your families, people. For now, I'm Scott.
I'm Therese.
We'll catch you next time right here on the Exes. Bye-bye now.